Hello, everyone. This is Disgruntled Elk coming to you I'm recording on Thanksgiving. We'll see if we can get it out today with some new cards. So a lot of people were asking about like Haywire Might, and some other things, but Haywire Might was obviously the big one. And while I do have a list we could play with Haywire Might, I actually saw someone 5-0 with this list with Diabolic Intent. Now, if you don't know what it is, Diabolic Intent is a card that got reprinted in Brothers War, so it's now legal in Modern, and it's a sorcery, 1 and a black. As an additional cost, sack a creature, search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, then shuffle. So a couple things to note about this. This can grab any card in your deck, and you don't have to reveal the card. So you can kind of set up turns without your opponent knowing exactly what's going on. Now, this is the list that 5-0'd a league, and so I just kind of played it as is. I believe I played 2 leagues with it. Just kind of bringing over some key pieces that you might want to grab with the intent. And yeah, those are kind of the big. So not only can intent grab Hammer, Shadow Spear like a Steel Shaper's Gift, but it can also grab Gingerbrute if you need an unblockable creature. Grab a Sigarda's Aid or a Pure Steel Paladin, which lets you equip. Because I know there are a lot of spots in games where you have hammers and they've like been able to address your creatures, and so you just need to get a Paladin into play so you can suit up your hammers again and go. And then the other piece that it can grab that people I think are underrating is you can just go grab Izzet Saga. So there are a number of games, and I've played, I want to say 5 or 6 different leagues with different versions of this deck, just trying to figure out if Diabolic Intent is good enough. And honestly, being able to grab Izzet Saga is just such a very powerful thing you can do. Now, there were a couple things that I liked about this list, a couple things that I didn't. I did kind of like the extra 1-drops. They were pretty cool, the extra 0-drops, because being able to have the fodder for cards that you don't care about with intent to sacrifice is pretty big. There were also a couple things I didn't like. Notably, Kaldra is in the sideboard. I don't think Kaldra should be a sideboard card. I think if you are not main decking the card, I just don't think it should be in your 75 at all. One thing that did come up with this deck is there was no Pithing Needle in the sideboard, which definitely cost me a match against Yawgmoth. So yeah, you'll see in future versions that I added those. And that has 4 Inkmoth Nexus. I don't think you can afford to play 4 Inkmoth Nexus. I get the idea is you want to have extra bodies you can sacrifice to intent. Because they didn't actually add a 23rd land, they're literally just cutting into their colored count, which I don't think is good. They are also only playing 1 fetch land in the 75, and instead they're playing a bunch of like silent clearings and concealed courtyards, which after playing with it, I'm really not a fan of those. I do like some number of silent clearings. I think that's card's very good. And as you've seen in my past lists, the fast lands I'm medium on, because those coming in untapped later in the game is so important. For Springleaf Drum, no Mantle, not a huge fan of that either. Mantle has definitely won me a lot of matches, and so I have trouble kind of giving up that card. Could be right, but I also am not a huge fan of 4 of the mana drum effects. So another thing to note, get this, about Diabolic Intent is it gives you a lot more access to your sideboard hate pieces. So I'm not a huge fan of Hallowed Moonlight. I think it's fine, but access to Drannith Magistrate, Sanctifier and Vec in some matchups, Hushbringer, really good. Obviously, if you're playing Pithing Needle, that's a pretty good grab as well. But just having the extra copies of sideboard cards is really nice. And so I tried this build for 1 or 2 leagues. I liked it. I think I went 4-1 a couple times. But then I went and I tweaked things, tried to make more of the cards impact more, and then kind of went from there. Okay, and so this is the version I tweaked it from LC Knight Rider, I believe the person's name is. So I did like, hey, I initially tried, after 1 league with it, I tried, okay, we'll just cut 1 drum for a Paradise Mantle and then go from there. Of course, I did end up losing because, I didn't have a needle in my sideboard, which was rough. I also made the adjustment to add a couple more fetch lands and trim down on the Concealed Courtyard silent clearing effects. I think being able to fetch up your basics in addition to having a couple Godless Shrines is really important, which ultimately led me to, so I played through a couple more leagues, And then I ended up on something like this where I have tried Nettle Assist as well, and I think Nettle Assist is totally reasonable. This is actually going to be the first league I'm trying without it, but I trimmed a Memnite, or added another Memnite back in for it. So the big changes you'll see here are, one, I only have 3 Diabolic Intents. I think 4 is just too many. I liked 4 at first just to see if it was impactful enough, but then I like to pare down kind of where you want to be, because generally you don't want to draw more than 1 Diabolic Intent in any given match. I went Cauldron in the main. It's a really powerful card that you can either Intent for or Stoneforge for, of course, and getting into play even with the uptick in Haywire Might. And I think Haywire Might is very good, but I think it's kind of overblown, so I don't think Cauldron is unusable now. I liked having a density of bodies, but I also like the ability to just have good cards. So I added 3 Giver of Runes. One thing that you'll notice about the original list I copied was there's no Blacksmith skill, no interaction at all. Obviously no Spell Pierce since you're not splashing blue. But there's also no Giver of Runes, so there's no way to actually protect any pieces of your combo, which is not really how I like to play. So Giver is a really nice pickup for this version of the deck, specifically because not only can it protect, but it is also a body for Diabolic Intent. I also trimmed one of the 4 mana rocks down to 3 mana rocks. And then I tweaked the mana base more to my liking, of course. But those are kind of the big things. So I cut 2 Memnites and one of the drum effects for 3 Givers. And then what else did we do? And then we cut one of the Diabolic Intent for the Cauldron. And so with the ability to go grab one-ofs out of the sideboard, another thing that I will say this iteration of the deck really, really helps against is creativity, because you can just Diabolic Intent for an Orvar the All form, and if they Archon you, they probably lose because you just Orvar them and copy the Archon of Creativity. Because if you're not familiar with the interaction, if Orvar's in your hand, they play Archon of Cruelty. It forces you to sack a creature, discard a card, they draw a card, and you lose 3 life, they gain 3 life. Well, you sacrifice your creature, then you discard Orvar the All form, and it says whenever a spell or an ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. So you just get to copy their Archon, then they have to sacrifice something, you draw a card, gain 3 life, and then they pass turn, you get to attack with your Archon, and the game's usually over. So having effectively 4 copies of Orvar post board is really, really nice. But so this is what I'm going to run with. I'm going to try it out in a league and see how it goes. I will give this big disclaimer. Going into trying this card, I didn't think it was better than the Blue Splash. The Blue Splash is very good, but I figured why not try something new? Nothing. If you don't try anything, you'll never improve on the deck. And I think that Intent is a very, very powerful effect, so I think it's worth it to try it out. Is it better than the Blue Splash? I don't know. It's still Hammer. Like, you still have that core, so the deck's really good, so you're probably going to still win a bunch. But it definitely offers a slightly different angle and allows you to be a little bit more proactive because you don't have quite as many like Blacksmith Skill and Spell Pierce in the main deck. But anyway, I will see y'all in round 1 after that much longer than usual deck. All right, we are here for round 1. We are on the draw, unfortunately, against Gigantha. Gigantha could be like a million different decks right now, so I'm not going to put too much thought into it. So this hand's a little tough. We're on the draw with Esper Sentinel. We also have Stoneforge and Cauldron. I think I'm going to keep it. It's a little sus, but if we can find a Paladin and a White Source, or if we can find a Diabolic Intent, we are probably in good shape. So I think it's a reasonable keep. All right, and it looks like, okay, so just turn 1 Ragavan off Blood Crypt. Okay, so having the Plains is nice. I think I'm just going to go Plains Sentinel here. I know they won't have a Fury because Gigantha's in their deck. So I think just playing the Ornithopter is fine there. I will just block with the Esper Sentinel here because I don't want them to get the mana advantage that early. And then next turn I will probably play out the Stoneforge and go get a Hammer. All right. Yep. Like I said, I'm gonna trade off here. Okay, so it is probably just Jund Saga would be my guess. Yeah. All right. Think I am just going to Yawgmoth, Stoneforge, go get Hammer here. We could also get Shadow Spear, but not huge on that. One thing to note against Jund Saga is if I can just go get an Izzet Saga, I'm probably in pretty good shape off of like Diabolic Intent. We're not worried about getting Blood Moon at all because they're an Izzet Saga 3-color deck probably. Shadow Spear is not bad, but I'm also not excited about it. So being able to use it's pretty nice. I think I'm just going to get a hammer though. Seems fine. And hopefully they don't kill it. Okay, they did not kill it, which that tells me they are unlikely to kill this Stoneforge this turn because they're probably going to want to use their mana to just make a construct. Yeah, so my guess, they also don't have green mana for Haywire Might, which is something really good to note. So they might just lose to this Cauldron, kind of depending on what's going on in their hand. I will play Windswept Heath, and I will fetch Shock. Because I do want that black source if we need it. Play out Esper Sentinel. And then, yeah, let's get this Cauldron going. Obviously, this is a spot where Diabolic Intent is great because it lets us get an Equipper and then immediately win the game. Because, yeah, it would let us go Intent, sack, like Ornithopter or whatever. Go get a Aid. And then we'd have 2 mana left over so we could play Aid and equip Hammer. But we shall see what they have going on. They did take a big hit there, which is nice. So let's see what they did. They're probably regretting not killing the Stoneforge. It's also awkward that they don't have a green source currently in play because they can't Wrenn and 6. They can't, even if they go get Haywire Might, they can't pop the Haywire Might because it requires green. But once again, if they do that, it's fine. Okay, so still no green. They got Shadow Spear. Okay. Any Equipper, not really where we want to be. Unfortunately, I think I have to hold back here. Yeah. Because if I crack in, they can just suit up the Shadow Spear. Unfortunate. Our draw steps have not been super kind to us, but we will see if that turns around. Okay, still not popping that. Yeah, you got it. All right, so making a construct in their upkeep, reasonable. Of course, Cauldron is holding that back. They're getting a Bauble. So they probably just don't have Haywire Might, which is wild to me. But so with any luck, we draw one of our deck. Yeah, so we'll play that out. I don't think there's a reason not to play out the Ornithopter either. I think I will get in for 1 Infect here. Can't do much else, so crack in for 1. Yeah, and of course I'm not attacking because they can always just suit up a construct with the Shadow Spear and then they gain back all the life that they had lost. So yeah, we have 4 Sigarda's Aid, 4 Paladins, 3 Diabolic Intent here. So we have 11 outs that we've been trying to draw to. Those are really the cards we're looking for. I wouldn't hate an Izzet Saga either because that would let us potentially go really, really big. It is awkward because if they want to make another construct, they have to tap their green source here. Of course, Cauldron, I feel like they just don't have Haywire Might. Otherwise, this, I think, is a pretty easy get for them. So they're looking at the top card. Kind of makes sense. Helps them plan out their next turn. Mishra's Bauble. Yep, in fact, they'll draw a card on our upkeep. You'll have to excuse it if you hear some background noise because it has been quite rainy today. Okay, so they're just making another construct. Sure. So they're not Haywire Mighting us. Oh, they just had nothing to get. Okay. 1-time dealer. Womp womp. I will play that out. Very little reason not to. And then I probably am supposed to get in for 1 more Infect, but like I said, I don't think it matters. Because I'm either going to hit them for like 11 plus Infect or no more at all. Let's see what they got. The Yawgmoth is another reasonable blocker. Of course, I'm probably blocking with Ornithopter. They don't really want me untapping with the Giver. Of course, Cauldron beats every construct they play because it just it exiles it, but during first strike damage, and then it shrinks all the other ones. It's also nice that we have the double Sentinel tax going. Usually on turn 7, double Sentinel's not like the biggest problem for them, but because they've had 3 of their lands enter and their Izzet Sagas, gives us a little bit more taxing advantage from the Sentinel. Okay, yeah, so they are popping the Sentinel. That's fine. So they are very likely to... sure. Okay. Yeah, so Stoneforge, I will just probably go get Shadow Spear here. Yeah, and then I'll probably just put it in on end step, and then likely equip it to, just equip it to a Yawgmoth. Just get in for 2 infect. Either that or the Ornithopter. Probably the Ornithopter. I don't think it makes it. You could also just put it on the Sentinel, because the Sentinel would let us double tax them. Okay. They're shocking. Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah. Put the Shadow Spear in. Okay. There we go. That's a good one. And so we will definitely be just putting it on the Cauldron here. Well, so we could aid, play an aid, activate Yawgmoth. We don't have... I just don't think there's a reason to get punished that hard. Because if they have 3 removal spells, I think we just attack with the Cauldron, because so the Cauldron would be a 25-25. They would have to throw all 4 constructs under the bus. Yeah, this is fine. And of course, we can't give pro colorless here because then the Cauldron falls off. So we finally drew an equipper, and the game is very, very likely over. Okay, how much are they throwing? That's 15. Okay, so they're all throwing all 20. I don't think there's a reason to actually put the second hammer down. I think I'm actually better served by not putting the second hammer on it. Like, because this will, yeah, it won't kill all the constructs. Yeah, so we'll just put both hammers on. Yeah, so if they had a Haywire Might in their deck, this is probably a different game, but because they simply can't answer the Cauldron, that is another story. Yep, so that's 15. Fortunately, we can't pump it by just 1, so like that would have been a reason to throw the Shadow Spear on it, but not being able to double hammer seems... Put that there and hit you for 5. What you got? Is there like a Terrace under or something? Unholy Heat the Giver. See if they pay the tax. They did not pay the tax. I guess I'll protect the Cauldron. I don't know. From green. Okay, so our opponent just doesn't know how First Strike is going to work. Okay, got it. Yeah, because it doesn't have hexproof or indestructible anymore. Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, interesting. Yep, sure. So we definitely need to draw, I don't know, a Paladin, Diabolic Intent, but both of those win the game here. So block here, block here. I don't think we want to take 15. Taking 10 is fine though. Yep, and want to kill off that Ragavan for sure. Okay, Paladin 1 time, please. Okay, a Paladin still technically does it. Let me put this here. Yeah, because we can animate, intent, and then play Paladin and equip all 3 of those. I should have put it on the Sentinel, but whatever. They definitely should have put a Shadow Spear on something, but I'm not going to complain. Heat. Maybe they'll let me draw a card. They did not let me draw a card. Okay, so exactly Paladin still does it, I believe. Okay, if they have another removal spell, then so be it. But got a block here. Yep. All right, so let's go to sideboard where we have some fun cards, specifically Blacksmith Skill and Sanctifier and Vec are all quite good. Needle is also pretty good here. Ornithopter is pretty atrocious, and I don't think we don't need as many intents for sure. I also like trimming a Mantle here, potentially. Doing this, honestly. We still have 20 creatures. That is enough for my liking. We'll just do this. March is a consideration, but generally we don't have to worry too much about their sagas. We will be on the play. And yeah, I mean, this hand is pretty good. I will fetch, shock, play Sentinel. Okay, they mulled a 6, which is nice. Once again, not worried about Blood Moon at all, so we can aggressively get our Godless Shrine, play out our Sentinel. And then depending on what we draw here, like if we just draw a land, I could see just going land go. Okay. Wow. Okay. These Sentinels are drawing a lot of cards. So I like the intent because it gives us windows to do a lot of different things. That's a nice hit. I kind of like going Plains, Memnite, intent sack Memnite, and then we can go get like Saga here, and then we can go Stoneforge, for a hammer. Yeah, kind of like that. Because then we also get to protect the Stoneforge with Blacksmith skill the following turn. All right, so first things first. I mean, Yawgmoth. I don't think we want to play the Yawgmoth, but I also don't think there's a difference. So I'm just not going to worry too much about it. Sack the bad creature. And I will just get a Saga here. And now, of course, the question is, do we play Saga or do we play Stoneforge? Or do we play, or rather, Nexus? Okay, Wrenn 6, so we get to draw a card. So they probably ping the Wrenn 6. Ooh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So if I play Urza Saga this turn, play Stoneforge, we won't get to make a construct off of the Saga. That might not matter, though, because the following turn we can... I think we're just Yawgmothing plus Stoneforging here. Go get a hammer, and then pass turn. I don't want to just run the Sentinel into the Wrenn 6. So last game they had what? Pirate, Spellbomb, Shadow Spear. I think I'm skilling here. Okay, deal. So now we get to Stoneforge plus Saga. Yeah, I'm just going to deploy everything here. Yep. And then I think we just go get another hammer. Then deploy this. Probably should have led with the Sentinel, but then Memna. So now if we hit a land, we can Cauldra plus activate Saga. And if we don't hit a land, then we will see what we do draw instead. Not going to pretend like I have Apostle's Blessing. Okay, so they killed the Esper Sentinel. Makes sense. Tarmogoyf, don't care. Second Tarmogoyf, don't care. That's nice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So I'm just going to fetch right now. Go to Plains. Do this. Put in Cauldra. I think we're just supposed to hit them. Killing the Wrenn 6 is good too. But they can't really attack all out because I'll make a 1-2. It'll be bigger. Yeah, just hit them. I don't think at this stage the Wrenn 6 is a huge... is the big focus point. Okay. Get your Verdant back. Okay, play your Verdant. Fetch. What she got for me? Gigantha into hand. EE for 0. Okay. I mean, I'll just block here. And now they're not in a great shape because... So I am just going to pass priority here. If they pop the EE, which they should, then we make a construct and it's 6 around. Okay, so we just get to needle the EE here. Question is, do we actually care that much about it? We could also just get a Shadow Spear here, throw it on the Germ, crack them for 6-7. Which is like not a bad spot either. And we also gain 6 life, putting us to 17. Yeah, I think it's just get Shadow Spear here. Play this. It's the new one, right? Equip to here. And I think it's probably correct to animate the Yawgmoth as well. Man, I wish I had another Blacksmith skill. Attack everything at them. 6, 7, 11, yeah. So they have to pop the EE, and they take 6, 7 here. So they go to 2 after normal damage, and we are at 17. It would be challenging for them to kill us from here. Okay. There's definitely already one in the east, so not super concerned about that. Of course, they can't like just freely keep grabbing that and fetching because they're going to such a low life total. Okay, go to 1. Yeah, Gigantha, sure. And they can't attack with both. They can attack with 1 if they really want to. I'll just draw an Equipper. I'd be cool with that. A Needle, so I don't think there's any need for me to do anything else. This. They have to block. They can't just block with the Gigantha. They have to block with a Goyf, which means the Goyf will get exiled. 23. And I think I do maim Haywire Might here because they could have it in post board. And that is just one of their few outs to the Cauldra. But looking pretty good. Okay. If they play Verdant Catacombs and crack it to take themselves out, I respect that. Man, they didn't. Okay. Well, crack in. You. What a weird game. If they want to kill one of the Yawgmoths, I think I'm fine with that too. Shock Shatter. You got it. Still have to just block the Cauldra though. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they need a lot of things. Okay. Turns no lands. Love that. And this will be a spot where I finally attack in with the Squire. Ooh, okay. So we can sack Stoneforge. Boop, boop. Play aid, and then we have 2 hammers up. Yeah. All right. Let's go get an aid. And so that was definitely an instance where the Diabolic Intent grabbed us a Saga early in the game to kind of grind to that later game, and then it managed to find an equipper later in the game. I think Sanctifier is still worth it, but it's certainly less good. So we could trim a Sentinel on the draw for like 1 march. That's probably fine because the Wrenn and 6 makes the Sentinels just like so much worse. I feel like they probably cut their Rakavans, so I kind of like having a couple Ornithopters instead, and that means we're a little lower on creatures than I'd like for the intents, but I think that's okay. We still have the Sagas and stuff, but I think clearing Tarmogoyfs out of the way could be really relevant. Man, so we need to draw a land, but this hand has everything else, so I'm keeping it. This is not a coward's video. There we go. See, everything's perfect. Play this out. Maybe we'll draw like an Esper Sentinel here too. And since we know they don't have Liliana from Gigantha, I'm probably just going to play this Sanctifier and then try to kill them. All right, what you got for me? What did they get back? Bloodstained probably. Yeah, Bloodstained. All right, so it's the same one. Shocked to play Tarmogoyf? Nope, because this also makes green because I'm smart. Okay, I think I'm just gonna try to kill them. Seiju? All right. I will, in fact, go get a tapped Godless Shrine. So now we can, if we draw like an Ornithopter, it puts us in a pretty good spot as well. EE for 2. Honestly, okay. That kills our Wrenn too. So this could be worse for us. We do want to force the pop on it. So it'll pop, kill that. So we can go probably just Esper Sentinel, Diabolic Intent for a Saga, play Saga. I mean, that seems pretty good, honestly. All right, let's force them to pop the EE. Yep, kill your own Wrenn and 6. Okay. So if we go Stoneforge, go grab a hammer, Esper Sentinel. Yeah, it's probably just deploy those. I guess we lead with the Sentinel though. No reason not to. Yeah. We could get a Shadow Spear too, but I kind of like getting the hammer because that opens us up to, if we hit a land, we can intent plus aid hammer. All right, Wrenn and 6. All right, they have killed everything. They're kind of low on life. Ooh, okay. Okay. And yeah, if they have another removal spell, so be it. Okay, they did not. All right, your go, friend. Yeah, because if they had the removal spell, they would have cast it in response to that hammer. But the reason I wanted to potentially get the card out is because if we play the hammer and then play Paladin, we can equip. But if they have the removal spell, they kill the Paladin regardless. Okay, push. Man, so maybe we would have been better served. Yeah, so this is tough because I think I'm just going to march the Tarmogoyf. But we shall see. They can't really fetch that many more times either. 2. Maybe we'll just get a Ginger Brute. Okay. Let's see if they play the land. Mishra's Research Desk. Okay. And it unearths. That's pretty sweet. It's a fun little one of. Inquisition here. So we march the Goyf in response. Okay. So they take 8 or intent. But now they don't have any pressure to speak of to buy Diabolic Intent, because that can be every card in the deck. See, I wonder if looking back on that turn that we went Stoneforge Sentinel, we should have just grabbed a Saga with the intent. And I think it probably was better because they were very likely to have an answer to kind of whatever we played. So, yep, play with new cards. Things are hard. I'm just going to sack this. Well, yeah, okay. So I think we play the aid here. I don't think it makes a huge difference, so I'd rather get it into play. I think like we find like a Stoneforge here. Okay. I'm okay with this. Oh, sure. Okay. Because they're just going to try to Beseiju lock me. feel like you're supposed to do that first, but thought squeeze. Oh, just playing the swamp. Yeah, sure. Okay, so Ornithopter is actually a lethal threat with the blacksmith skill. That's pretty funny. And I am just trying to play a little bit quicker since this game has gone on for what feels like forever. Just no targets. Gigantha to hand. All right. Yawgmoth. I think I'm just going to do nothing and try to cast this Cauldron. Boseiju. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we will float a mana here. We should have enough to cast Cauldron. Yeah. Yep. All right. Always stack it correctly. I will probably not put it on the Ornithopter, but oh, I was definitely supposed to put it on the Ornithopter. What am I talking about? Because they have the Gigantha that can come in. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Well, I think I'm just gonna try to kill them. Oh, this is so bad. Because I can just sack the Haywire Mite. So there's no reason to do that. Okay. Yeah, so they got the Boseiju lock, plus they had the Shadow Spear. Pretty sure we're dead here. Like, I can't imagine I'm winning, but, you know, weirder things have happened. But yeah, we'll give myself one more draw step. Yeah, so if we, looking back, if we had intended for a Saga, we very likely win the game. Yeah, I'll block, right? But I do believe this game is over. We didn't draw any Sagas in the top half of the deck. Okay. Anyway, I'll see y'all in game 2. Oh, all right, we are back for game 2 or round 2 after a very long round 1. Jeez, this is gonna be a long video. But yeah. Okay, so I mean this is a keep. I'm not excited about the 2 intents, but I mean, like, a lot could obviously go wrong, but I don't think your average 6 is going to be better. So I'll just play out the Hammer on 1, more than likely. See, Rainforest could be almost any deck still, except for Hammer. Probably not the Hammer Mirror. Okay, basic Forest. Oh, okay, so Yawgmoth. Okay. That's honestly pretty nice. So I think we are fetch shocking here. Play Hammer, play Ornithopter, and pass turn. I'm probably just playing the Paladin out next turn to hope to spike a land, unless we hit like exactly Sigarda's. It's kind of the exception here. Yawgmoth, just not a good matchup, and I think as the deck has gotten more refined, the matchup has gotten worse. You certainly can win, but it is not easy. Having a fast hand is certainly helpful because it's possible they don't have the Yawg. They do have like 12 copies. So they have almost as many Yawgs as we have Hammers. Well, is that true? We have 15 copies of Hammer between Stoneforge, Hammers, Sagas, and then the 3 intent. Yeah, what are they doing? Just yeah, sure. So if we hit a 0 drop here, we can crack in for lethal. I will decline to block boldly. Okay. Yeah, so now we can, maybe we'll just like draw Shadow Spear. I can dream, right? Paradise Mantle would also be a really good hit. We're very likely to die this game. Roll a lot of ones. Let's say fetch. Obviously, intent is great against them post board because we can just go grab Needle. Having effectively 4 copies of Needle plus the 4 Sagas is really, really big game. But we'll see. We'll see what they've got going on. I feel like the turn is going too slowly for them to have the combo rolled up because they would probably just go if they had the combo. Either, oh, okay, sure. Birds, yep. Yeah, I mean, once Yawgmoth gets down on the table, it's so hard to win. It's just so hard to win. Yeah. Yeah, kill the Paladin. Makes sense to me. So they sack probably the wall here. Put a neg counter on the Geist. We'll draw a land. Yep. Think we can move on. So let's see. So Hushbringer is pretty good. I think you want marches just as ways to actually kill things. You want the skills to protect the Needle as well as ways to get Cauldron into play. So Memnite is actual factual terrible. I think Esper Sentinel is also pretty bad here. Gingerbread's actually pretty good. Giver of Runes I don't think is great. Okay. I think we can trim a drum. Probably trim the mantle and like trim a giver. Giver's a nice way to actually get a Cauldron into play We're definitely like lower on creatures than I want for the intents is the only concern here. We will see. This is for testing. All right. So this hand just doesn't do anything, so I don't think we can keep it. Like, you have to have a proactive hand. Okay, here we go. So I don't think we want the drum. We can also put back a silent clearing and just try to kill him with Cauldron. They kept 7. That's not great for me. It's not my favorite thing. Because of course they can have Haywire Might for Cauldron now too, but we shall see. I will fetch Shock, Stoneforge here. Okay, so they fetch, get Forest, Birds of Paradise, you got it. I think I will put Marsh Flats in here because if they like randomly Magus Lamunas, I want to make sure to have double white. All right, get a Cauldron. If I was closer to Metalcraft, I would consider getting a hammer here, but I'm not close. All right, opponent, what you got for me? Okay, Overgrown Tomb it is. Maybe it's a Grist to try to kill the Stoneforge. What it looks like. Yeah, against Yawg, if you can force them to answer your play pattern, you are much better served. Obviously, you can't always make that happen, but we can dream. Okay, Strangleroot Birds. Yeah, you got it. If they attack, I'll block pro green, but don't think that's happening. Yep. All right, not happening. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna represent Blacksmith skill. All right. Hit you for 5. Okay. And of course, suppressing Yawg's life total as quickly as possible also plays a huge role because it kind of hamstrings their ability to be able to just like combo with impunity because of course their life total restricts how many times they can activate Yawgmoth. But we shall see. A hammer here would be an incredible draw, obviously. Trying to think what else we'd want. Okay. Well, sacking the peatland is a good sign for me. Okay. I will not block here. I would take a Diabolic Intent as well. Sack the Stoneforge, go grab a Needle, just to further suppress their ability to get back into the game. Did not draw that, so honestly, I think I'm supposed to crack in with the Stoneforge here too. If they block with the Strangleroot Geist, we can protect. That gives them 1 fewer activations technically, and then I think we just go give your Pure Steel. Yeah, okay. Okay, so they take 5, go to 7. Okay, then, yep, play out my stuff and hope it works. Your go, Yugi boy, girl, I don't know. And we get that sweet F6 value here where we just get to full pass priority. You could also rattle a couple of equipment off the top. Okay, sack the peatland, kind of what we want to see here. Yeah, so I've seen some people saying intent isn't as good as Steel Shaper's Gift or things like that. It's like, yes, it's not as good at drawing exactly equipment as Steel Shaper's Gift, but Diabolic Intent does grab Saga and, of course, the Equippers, which are usually the harder part of the combo to find. Okay, cool. So we won on our Multi 5 against their 7. I am torn on this drum. I think we probably need additional bodies if I had to take a guess. I also think Giver might be slightly less important on the draw. Giver protects Hushbringer as well, which is pretty big. Yeah, whatever. Try this. And of course, Ornithopter can cheese kills with Sigarda's Aid plus hammers. Oh, man. This hand is so good if we draw a white source. So we have 22 lands in the deck. We have 7 of which, so we have 15 white sources. I don't have the stones for that. All right, we're going 5. I think now we have to hope. At least we have a Needle, right? So Giver, probably Hammer. At least we have the Needle to do on 1. White source, please. We didn't have a white source in any of our 3 hands. Dang. I don't think we had it in the 6. Perfect. All right, Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. And, all right, if we draw a white source here, we've got a shot. I guess technically if we have a Saga, we also have a shot. Do they just... Wow, okay. All right, whatever. Let's get in there. Okay, so they have Force of Vigor, is what I'm reading from this. I mean, if they have Force of Vigor, they should probably just pop it here. That was an ambitious keep from the opponent. That's the other reason I think they probably have Force of Vigor, because I don't know what else you would have in your hand that would compel you to keep 1 land, Dryad, Arbor only. Yeah, okay. Pitching Court of Calling, sure. Yeah, so we still just need to hit a white source, and then we're in a shape. Okay, I'll take it. I think I'm gonna do this. Hope to fade a turn or two. Get Cauldron here. If we had a white source, then I don't hate going Hushbringer Giver. But I think just getting Cauldron into play is kind of the line here. We shall see what happens. Of course, they can't even cast Yawg even if they have a land, as long as it's not a black land. Pitching Cord. All right. Another Wall of Roots. You got it. Yep. Okay. You have a wall of idiots. Just bungling doofuses. All right. Yeah. Cauldron in. Okay. So if they Yawg here, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, and they don't actually have that much space to go off. They can't block, right? If they block, yeah. All right. And we'll get a basic plains here. So we have one in case they moon us. And then next turn, I will play Hushbringer. This has been a weird game, but I think the mulligan decisions were correct. Obviously, the first hand was good, but it's also, okay, well, these tap for green now. The first hand, if we hit exactly white source off the top, we're in good shape, but otherwise the hand goes nowhere, and mulliganing to 6 is usually a good call in those spots. Unfortunately, the 6 was also bad, and then the 5 also had no white sources. Here we are. So we have pressure. Okay, it looks like a Yawgmoth to me. Yeah, okay. But what are they doing? Like, also, if I hit another white source, I can or another land at all, I get to go Hushbringer, as long as it's not exactly the one of Concealed Courtyard, which will probably happen, if we're being honest. That'll probably happen. You got it. Do you have an Undying creature? Does not look like it currently. Okay, yep. Blink the Giver. That makes sense. Not a lot of things can happen until the Giver's down. So 2 Wall of Roots down. So I wouldn't hate a Blacksmith skill or a land here. Those are kind of the 2 draws that I'm really looking for. Fortunately, the Needle, of course, was destroyed. Okay, Bird. That is confirmed the word. No hits. All right. Yeah, so I think we just start with a Cauldron here. Start by attacking for 5 points of damage. No point attacking with the Stoneforge, of course, because they just block with the Yawg. Okay. So they take 4, go to 9. If they sack, it doesn't do anything in terms of reducing damage. Okay, so it looks like that's what's happening. Put a counter on Stoneforge. You got it. So you take 5 still, because trample. Okay. Sure. Stoneforge dead. You go to 6. If we Hushbringer here, I feel like it's very difficult for them to win. Of course, keep our Abzan. Or no, yeah, our Abzan line up. So now even if they have an Undying creature, they need to kill off both of their ignobles first to plink the Hushbringer down before sacking it, and I think that just deals too much damage to them. Casual multi-5, miss white sources for 2. Was it 2 turns? Yeah. Because turn 1 and turn 2 I played Inkmoths. Ooh, all my lands tap for so many colors. This is now a painless green-black land that can add white for 1 life. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. All right. Kill the Hushbringer. That's why we have 2. Man, if intent had been an instant, that's a whole other game. Okay, Hushbringer down. Because you could just sack things in response. Okay. It is day. What else you got for me, opponent? Are we sacking the Liberator? Yep, all right. This is now a 4/4. I think they're digging for exactly like the Haywire Might here. Ah! They should do it right now. Like, there's no reason to wait, because if I just draw Blacksmith skill, the game ends. Yep, okay. They figured it out. Okay, well, the game's probably over, but I'm okay with that. We'll see what we draw. So I think I need to Hushbringer here to basically make it continually more difficult for them to combo. That was good heads up play by the opponent to just pop the Haywire Might when they did. Okay. You have played Forest. All right. Do they have Endurance still in their deck? Okay, well, I'm not blocked. that part's easy. Grist, sack, Yawg to kill Hushbringer. All right. What am I looking at? Sigarda's Aid is not bad. If we Sigarda's Aid, we can intent for a hammer. We can also animate Inkmoth Nexus. Let's see, so if we intent sack the Hushbringer for a hammer, play a next turn we can animate Inkmoth, attack, kill them. it's pretty tight. That might be the play though. No, because they can still just Yawg here. I think I need to hit them. Okay, hit for 1. So the question is, I think we play Paladin here. Yeah, obviously Needle is something that I would have been like to grab with the intent, but of course they already forced it. Not doing that. I mean, they are super choked on their life total too. So I need to find an equipment, which we can do with the intent. The Seiju, sure. Punishment, God, what a beating. Who hurt you, opponent? No, they have a pretty stock list. Okay. And yep, makes sense. Could march the Yawg. I have to pitch the aid to do that. Doesn't feel great. If we march the Yawg, they can't combo us and it buys us some additional turns. We can also just pass here. Because right now it looks like we're just going to get run over by this. Yeah, I mean, if I don't kill the Yawg, then like the Sigarda's aid's not doing anything anyway, because they just kill the Yawgmoth in response. Okay, well, now I am marching. No. Don't pay the extra life when we don't have to. I'll use that green mana. 4, yep. And of course this is because they can't take advantage of the Strangleroot Geist rebuying with Yawg here. So I need to draw some very specific cards in a very specific timeline. Take 4, so they have me dead in 2 turns. Oh, yeah. All right, cool. GG's. Let's see if we can start salvaging this. All right, we are back for round 3. Let's see if we can win a match. Okay, so we can go Mesa, Drum, Thopter, Sentinel, and then we can intent for a hammer. All right, yeah. And come here to not do this. You can also just draw a hammer. So yeah, this is why I think intent is legitimately worth considering, because it gives the deck some consistency that it just didn't have. And so no companion. I think I'm just gonna get a basic plains here. If they Fury me, so be. I'm not gonna play around Fury in the super blind. Also, I don't know why I put that out in the universe where it's just like, you're about to get furied, friend. No Furies. Okay, that's not really what I want. We could also just go get a Saga, right? Yeah, so just crack in for 1. Yeah, okay. I don't actually hate that. And if they pierce, we draw a card here too. Like really heavily incentivized to counter this, if they can. Okay, I'll get an Urza Saga and play Urza Saga. Okay, fun little change of plans here. Kill it. Let me draw a card. Okay, see, this is great. Everything's great. And so it might be, like, I love Paradise Mantle, but specifically for something like a Diabolic intent build, it might be worth it considering to just play the drums, because being able to deploy your drums is like pretty big game. Okay, so here, geez, okay, I do only have 3, right? Okay, so go get a plains. And I'm just going to make a dude and aid here. They're down to 3 cards in hand with 3 mana up. I will take 2 points of damage. Let's make a construct. Now, it is a question of what we are getting. They almost assuredly have Archmage Charm here. So, what are we getting with that knowledge? It is worth noting that they can't currently Unholy Heat any of my creatures because they don't have that in they don't have Delirium. I also don't hate just getting an Ornithopter here either, to sack for an intent to go get a Saga, another one. Yeah, okay. So we will go to combat. So they probably just take 4 here. All right. And yeah, sack the Thopter. If you have a counter spell, you can counter it. That's fine. Yep, Spell Pierce. You got it. So they were tanking on a Spell Pierce forever ago. Obviously, drawing all 3 Diabolic Intent isn't really what you want. But what you gonna do? There's a reason I only had 3 in the deck. It's because usually you don't want to draw more than 1 to 2 in any given match. Okay, so my guess is they have some removal spells plus potentially a Murktide here. But they're only gonna have 3 cards when they untap. We just need to draw a hammer or a Stoneforge or a Saga. or any of those things. Okay, expressive iteration. Sorcery, instant land, so they don't have a creature in the yard. This is fortunate. They have exiled here. Okay, so another Scalding Tarn. Yeah, you got it. It's like, oh, I'll block. Okay. I'm down to just cash this in for a card. Ooh. Okay. We can essentially flash in 2 pumps worth. So this covers us from Bolt. So if they don't block, I'm just not going to do anything. Like, I won't do anything unless they force me to do something. So yeah, I'll just hit them for 6 here. That's fine. Paradise Mantle. You heard me talking some mess. Now you're here to remind me. It's like, no. Okay. Bobble, yeah, all right. You get to dig super hard, friend. I don't know how you're supposed to stack those. All right. Ooh, they have to attack? Okay. And I may flash this in right now, because this way we don't trigger the Shredder on our turn if we want to do both. There. Okay, so both of these are lethal threats, so we don't need to do anything. Archmage Charm would be my guess here. Okay, I'll let these resolve. Of course, I will tap it for white mana. Why not? Yep. 1, 2. I mean, no reason not to just use the mana, right? Like, ooh, that's fun. Wish it was a Stoneforge, but still. Might as well start by killing their bird. Yeah, so if they found exactly Lightning Bolt, I mean, in the top half, it's pretty likely that they did, then whatever. But this here. And we did, of course, sequence that in a way to where they wouldn't get to shred. Do they have a bolt? I feel like if they have a bolt, it's a pretty easy line here. Murktide, okay. Sure. All right, I'll go to 3, yeah. Thopter's pretty nice here. Black. So I think, okay, this is interesting. So I'm definitely supposed to get a Shadow Spear here. Right. Yeah, so we get a Shadow Spear, and then we float a mana here. Move this here. I mean, we're dead anyway, so who cares? Oh, wow. Okay. That should do it, because they have 8. Yeah, they have 8, 9, and we are cracking in 4 lethal. And Otawara doesn't do it either, because it costs 4. All right. And they don't play Fire Ice. What? Why? Why wait? Sure. Okay. Yeah, you got it. There's just no reason to wait. Like, only bad things can happen by waiting. Okay. So as frustrating as that was, these are all good. These are good. So these are all quite good. We get to cut Ornithopters because they are pretty terrible. At least Memnite like trades off with Ragavan. Paradise Mantle's fine. And I think you actually are supposed to cut all the intents against them because it's just a little slow, and you don't usually have a lot of extra dudes that you can just throw away. And usually it's not one specific card that you're trying to find against them. I would like to play first. We have a Sanctifier and Vec and a Drum and an 8. So I will keep. Easy keep, easy life. Definitely should have played Aid. I don't. We're here now. I even thought, I was like, we'll play Aid. But don't spell snare me, bro. And I'll just play Sentinel here. So yeah, we'll see what else they have going on. But for right now, I don't think there's a lot of reason for me to do much of anything. So I'll attack for 3 points here. And I'll play a Giver. Okay, so they're planning to Blood Moon would be my guess. Okay, so they want to kill the Sanctifier here. So hopefully we just rip a hammer at any point. Okay, iteration. What are you exiting, friend? Consider. That's not really what you want to find. Okay. Wow. Okay, so just dress down into nothing. Big fan. So, yep. Let's just go with this plus Stoneforge. Let's go get a hammer and crack in for 2 points of damage. We could crack in for 3. Yeah, whatever. If they want to, yeah, this puts them to exactly dead to hammer. All right, so they could have Fury as well. I think getting them to exactly dead to hammer is pretty good here. because Hammer on a Sanctifier obviously KOs them. I do want to also say that there were a couple spots against specifically the Jund deck where having access to something like a Nettle Cyst would have been really big. So it's possible you are supposed to play that anyway, but you know, that's the only deck that I would really want it against. It's not great against any of these other decks that we've really played against, especially Yawg, obviously. There's been a lot of Yawgmoth in the queues recently, which has not been my favorite thing. Okay. Kill the Stoneforge, you got it. So they likely have actual counterspell for the hammer. I'm just going to cast this. I'm shocked. See, there we go. Whatever. Okay. See, I don't slow roll people, opponent. Yeah, Ornithopter is not great. Cauldra I think is still worth keeping in. Giver's fine. Yeah, so we have good mana. We have Esper Sentinel on turn 1. This is a key. Because they fetched Basic Island, I think last game, I'm inclined to believe that they, that was a nice draw, that they are a Blood Moon heavy variant, which is another reason to cut the Diabolic Intense post board, because this way I can just like very cleanly fetch my basics and not have to worry about it. But it doesn't look like that's what's happening now. Okay, so are they just gonna bolt that? Let me draw a card. All right, yeah, you got it. Okay, and they did mull to 6, it looks like. I'm bad at counting. This is why I don't play Storm. Are they tapping out? Okay, it's very tempting to get this 8 into play. Getting the 8 into play is really helpful, so I think I'm just going to do that, especially since we have like 3 Stoneforges rolled up. And I will probably go fetch a maybe I might fetch a Shock to incentivize them to Blood Moon me, but we will see. They are paying costs, so maybe a Murktide. That'd be a very small Murktide. EE for 1, sure. This also reduces the total amount of damage I'm gonna take. And we can pretty cleanly get let's get a hammer here, probably. They don't know about any of the hammers. And of course, I'm hoping to just rip like a blacksmith skill or a needle. There you go. I can just get a cauldron here. Kraken. Put them to... I don't think there's a reason to do that. I think I wanted to get them to tap out some of their mana here. You got it. You got it. Blacksmith skill is actually just counterspell / partial stifle usually. You got it. So they fetched. And what else do we have going? You know about Cauldra and Colossus Hammer. So right now I'm just trying to figure out how to bob and weave through the EE. Blood Moon is totally fine. Okay, so I'm going to hammer right here, because if they pop it, we get to blacksmith skill at whichever spot matters more. Because so the way you do it is you have this hammer on the stack. They can either pop the EE in response to casting the hammer, and then you skill the aid, or if they pop it here, you protect just like you just protect the hammer. Let me just put it on this one, is fine. And so they're going to pop the EE. We are going to blacksmith skill the hammer, or we are actually going to blacksmith skill the aid and then kill them with 2 hammers. Yeah, that's even better. Okay, and they're just letting this happen. I get to just untap. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this and put this germ into play. Target here, because this way, even if they have Archmage Charm, the Cauldron will be attached to a Stoneforge Mystic. It's where each non-land permanent. Let's go ahead and do this. I mean, it doesn't matter. Resolves. Good game. Yep, and that's how you navigate a blacksmith skill against an EE on 1. So you'll notice there, I think that was actually a really interesting spot, because unless Murktide is pressuring you, you can usually just kind of overwhelm their mana. So you saw that right there, like they didn't actually have to play the Blood Moon. That's kind of the spot that I'm iffy on. Of course, I don't know the rest of the cards in their hand, but if they don't play a Blood Moon, then any sagas I draw off the top, of course, are very live, which is why when Murktide was cutting on Dragon Rage Channeler, that's when I think Hammer had the best matchup against Murktide. As they've kind of added DRCs back in, it's been a little more challenging, but I'll see y'all in round 4, I believe. All right, we are back for round 4. These have been some long ones. We have no lands, so We will mulligan that hand. This hand is Saga for the hammer, Aid, and Sentinel, so I will keep it. I think we bottom the Ornithopter here. I think I'm actually going to bottom the Ginger Brute and just go Windswept Heath, Sentinel, Thopter. I don't think there's actually a lot of reason to play the Thopter though, so I will fetch Shock here, play out the Sentinel, because we can pretty cleanly play the Aid plus Saga next turn. Okay, Monkey, sure. Give me a hammer. It's not bad. And I don't think I'm going to play this Ornithopter out. I think I'm just going to block with the Sentinel here. So we get to play Yawgmoth, play Thopter. I will block. The reason, of course, I'm holding the Ornithopter is because, you know, it gives us additional mana to play with next turn. So the question, of course, is what is our opponent on? We know it's not Rhinos because they played a 1-drop, so I don't know. So I am just going to go on the grind them out plan with Sagas right now. Choo choo, you can probably hear the train in the background. Ketria Triome. This is just like rug cards. Rug being red, blue, green. Windswept Heath. Could also be a domain deck as well, but I would think they would have gotten something a little more different than that. So everything but black. Oh, it's literal elementals. Okay. Yeah, you got it. Okay. So this is definitely a matchup where I'm happy to have the Diabolic Intent for hammered creatures, or for Hushbringer. Yeah. So let's make a construct, and then we will put a hammer on the Ornithopter. And the reason we do that, of course, is because we want the construct, if they're going to Solitude a creature, I'd much rather have the 5/5 live. Because if we put it on the construct, okay, yeah, so, oh wow, okay, we just got Risen Reef off the board. That's a really big game, because usually Risen Reef is how they beat us. But we shall see what opponent has going on. Like, they very likely have Leyline Bindings in the deck as well. Gingerbread Cabin. Is this the reshape deck, right? Yeah, Shape Anew. So they are gonna go get a portal. We will animate Yawgmoth, and I will sacrifice everything but the 10/10. All right, there we go. They did their thing, and then they died. Blacksmith skill, some number is probably good. Hushbringer, they are an ETB deck, so I don't hate that. I'm going to look up Shape Anew real quick. Okay, I did check. Shape Anew does not cast, it just puts it into play. So Drannith Magistrate, not where you want to be. March, potentially. Yeah, March, because I can do a lot of that. I don't think skill... Let me check Shape Anew again. That player puts that card on control or target artifact, sacrifices it, then reveals. Yeah, so Blacksmith skill would not do it either, because you give hexproof to your own thing. So yeah, not where we want to be. That being said, they probably do have a lot of interaction, so I don't hate the skills as ways to just cover our butts. Diabolic Intent is fine, but I don't think we want all three. I thought it was elementals, and you know, that's a different story. Esper Sentinels, they probably are Ren and 6 deck. I don't know. So I think I'm just gonna trim a little bit of this, a little bit of that, probably all the givers. Cauldron, probably not great against the Edict deck. And then cut the Ornithopters. Seems fine. Oh, we get to keep one. I will keep the Cauldron as a threat. Sure, this seems fine. Okay, well, we have a pretty fast kill here, and we have March for their thing. So I will keep. We also know, because they're a Ginger Brute, or a Gingerbread Cabin deck, that they probably aren't a Blood Moon deck. So they mold to 6. We shall see what happens. Oh, okay. I will fetch Shock and place a Garda's Aid, and then hopefully we just hit like a 1-drop creature or a 0-drop creature here. Gotcha. Okay, Leyline Bindings. So they do have Leyline Bindings. Good to know. Good to know. I think I'm just going to play Paladin here. If they have a removal spell here, then so be it. But if they don't, then the payoff's really big. All right, they just had another Leyline Binding. Sure. Perfect. Perfect. This costs 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Probably end of turn, exiling 2 cards to hit the leyline binding. It's not actually that bad. If they don't shape Anew exactly this turn, then we can do that. Ooh, okay. Kiki Jiki, sure. Okay. So yeah, if we hit a land, which we're very likely to, right? Because so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't math. I can't math. So it doesn't matter anyway. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're 1 short. Okay. So we still can win even if they portal here, which is kind of funny. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can actually hold up skill. I take 2. Shape Anew, please. No? Okay. This is a cool little take on it where they have like a fair package as well. Oh, sure. Running 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well, let me see. Aid. This one has Paladin under it. This one. That's 4. Yeah. I never thought I would march a leyline binding, but here we are. I'm glad everyone was here to join me. Okay. So let's start here. There we go. That should do it. All right. And this is what we call playing to your outs. They never expect the march for X equals 6. They never expect it. All right, cool. I'll see y'all in the final match. All right, we are back scrapping for that pity chest. We are on the draw. We have Paladin, Memnite, Drum, Ornithopter. I think this is a keep because we do have a redraw off of the Silent Clearing. We just need to find a hammer, and we have, how many did I say? 15 copies in the deck. Yeah, I think we keep. Let's see. I have no idea what my opponent's on, but they apparently played against Hammer in the last round as well. All right. It's either going to be terrible or great for me. No middle ground. Oh boy. Oh, it's burn. Okay. Fair enough. The old sarcastic poggers. Okay, so I want to get everything out that I can, and I want to just get a basic here. I'm just going to play out everything because I want to get under the Eidolon, because the last thing I want to have happen is me just like deal a free 4 points of damage to myself by holding on to some of these. Yeah, so we'll see what we draw. Drawing a Diabolic Intent would be quite, as my opponent put it, poggers as well. We shall see. Of course, that is one thing to note about the version with black in it. You are softer to Springleaf Drum, not what I'm looking. You are softer to burn because you don't have Spell Pierce. So this is certainly a matchup where we'll see if that comes to bite us in the booty. I will just take the 3 here. Okay, so think I am just sacking this. Okay. We can go Hammer here. Yep, all right. And so we'll block with the Ornithopter and protect it from red. We will still have 3 artifacts in play even if they kill off this, because we can play Paladin. What you got for me, friend? Searing Blaze, gross. All right, pro red. At least we get to absorb some of this damage here. And of course, we will block the Swift Spear, since Goblin Guide we know is 2. Honestly, Stoneforge is not a bad draw because that sets up the Shadow Spear. If they Skull Crack, that's pretty rough, but it's actually okay, right? If they Skull Crack, then this dies. We take 5, go to 6. All right, block here. I guess they can't Skull Crack because Skull Crack costs 2 mana, not 1. Okay, go to 8 here. They have 2 cards in hand. And of course, we are immediately equipping, probably to the Memnite. And I think in basically no world are we blocking with the Paladin. This is pretty tough. So if we attack for 11, we put them to 6. They attack. We block here probably. We take 2, go to 6. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just supposed to crack in for 11 here. If they have removal spell, that but we're so if I think they're figuring out if they should bolt here, would be my guess. Okay, yeah, bolt there, sure. That's actually really good news for me, I think. Yeah, because now we get to equip here, hit them for 10, and then move the hammer back to the Paladin. Yeah, this is great. Put them to 6. I think they probably just miscounted Metalcraft would be my guess. Yep, and this is kind of the problem with the yeah, so if they have 2 more bolts, then I don't think I can just not attack there though. Okay, check this. They can't have 2 more bolts with 1 card in hand. They can, of course, crack Sunbaked Canyon, hope to find Bolt. But yeah, I think they piloted it well. I don't know. There's so much to play around. It's hard to say. All right, burn for the 5-0. They can't really attack here. I'm not going to play around a main deck Deflecting Palm. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Play out this. Grab Shadow Spear, and we're just gonna suit up the Paladin. Okay, sure, fair enough. Respect that. Yeah, okay. And I'm not a coward. Sometimes I'm a coward, but usually not. Okay, so burn. Obviously, we don't have the the Spell Pierces, unfortunately, which is the biggest loss. Marches are great. Skills are still good because they can protect our early blockers as well as our Shadow Spear. And then we probably want Sanctifier since we have less to bring in than we normally do anyway. So I usually bring in, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. Here's 8. And then Cauldron is pretty medium. Assist we don't have to worry about. Trim Memnites because they do actual nothing. Probably that redraws at least. I think Ornithopter's pretty poor. Esper Sentinel on the draw is pretty bad, and I think Intent might be too slow, but I like some number. This seems fine. I could have cut it like a drum or something too, but okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that I'm gonna take so much damage from my lands, but I think it's fine to just go turn 1 Esper Sentinel and throw out these Ornithopters as well. Might get a card or 2 off of the Sentinel. And these Ornithopters might be just 0 mana gain 2s, but I think I'm okay with that. See if we hit like a Saga off the top. Colossus Hammer, not the draw. No. No. Okay. Definitely didn't mean to click through. I meant to just play out the Ornithopters here. Okay, well... Okay, one time, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't punish. Okay, so we will get to deploy our Ornithopters. That was what we call a good draw. You know what? I'm going to do this first so I can't possibly mess it up. So they definitely kept a hand with, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. With Deflecting Palm. Because otherwise, like, I don't know a world in which they're keeping the one-lander. So if they don't have 2 mana up this turn, I'm just going Paladin Hammer. All right, yeah, I'm gonna block. They have Path here. I could. Not gonna worry about it. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this, play Paladin, and I'm gonna put it on the Sanctifier here, and we get to crack in for 13. And of course, if they Path here, so that might actually be the reason not to, because if they have Path, then it gets a lot worse. So I can just put this on the Sentinel as well. Sure. Yep. Hit you for 13, because they need to Path the Sanctifier. And I think I move this to Thopter first, and then I'll move it to Paladin. Yeah. Because this way, if they bolt the Paladin in response, we're still in good shape. But the reality is, like, these blacksmith skills are just going to be like +2/+2. But yeah, opponent kept a 1 land, didn't find another land. So I don't know. GG's. Did they keep 7? But okay. Anyway, I don't know if they kept 7. It's fine though. So let's do the debrief. I'll see y'all in the deck view. Cool. All right. So we are back with the debrief. Unfortunately, we didn't play against creativity, but otherwise we played against a lot of like real decks. The Rug reshape or shape a new deck was interesting. But this card feels super powerful and I think it's good. It won us at least 1 game. I'd have to go back to see the exact footage, but being able to find Paladin on demand for like, so you can more aggressively go for the combo and then rebuy that combo is pretty huge. Having more access to these singleton sideboard cards is also a really big game. Obviously against Yawg, we like Multi 5. And to be fair, I don't think the Yawg matchup is great, kind of regardless of your hammer configuration. But the real I think upside to Diabolic Intent is finding Saga and Pure Steel. And I think actually finding Saga most of the time is correct, because if you haven't heard, this card is really, really good. It also lets you rebuy any value you lost from the intent. Another thing to consider is there were a number of times where Nettle Cyst would have been good. Especially since Nettle Cyst comes with a body for Diabolic Intent. I think it's pretty reasonable to play one, and so I don't hate that either. You could also cut the Paradise Mantle for a drum if you wanted. There was definitely a spot where being able to use the drum with just draw Ornithopter or Memnite off the top, play them, and then immediately use them for mana so your non-summoning second creatures can attack. That's a reasonable spot to be in. Of course, the other side is Paradise Mantle. If you're getting Paladin, then if you have a big board, you can generate a ton of mana out of nowhere and then potentially kill them, but who knows. So I think that's more a taste thing. I don't know why I just removed Paradise Mantle from the board. So I think right now where I'm at is I like the Givers a lot. Sentinels. So yeah, let's lump this into the core. Cool. All right. So lumping it into the core, right? So we have our core right here. And then here are the 10 cards that I've used to fill. I think Giver of Runes is a lot better if you are playing Intent, because it is a protection effect like Blacksmith Skill or Spell Pierce that you can also use as fodder for Diabolic Intent. Cauldra, I think, is just super good. Obviously, people have Haywire Mites, but it almost did carry us through a couple games that we would have otherwise had a lot of trouble with. But I still think it's quite good and good enough to play. Memnites are also a consideration with the Intent, because you want those fodder bodies that you can play early and often. And then, they also block Ragavan, so, not too bad. So, and then, I'm always a fan of, so there were 2 points that made me want to kind of go up to, from 0 Givers to 2 to 3, is 1, the Diabolic Intents, being a redundant piece and just having these bodies to sacrifice. But the other part is because I want Cauldra in the main, Giver gets a lot better when you can go Giver, Stoneforge, Cauldra, right? And so those are kind of that's the thought process I went through when making tweaks to the deck. So in the end, is Intent good in the deck? I think it is. Luckily, you can just play these 50 cards and you can win anyway. But I think Intent gives the deck kind of an ability to get exactly the specific pieces you need that it otherwise doesn't have, right? So Seal Shaper's Gift is great at finding Hammer and sometimes Cauldra, but it doesn't find the harder part of the deck to find, which is Pure Steel and Cigar Aid, and then of course grabbing Urza Saga is really nice. Then of course, one thing I will say is if you want to beat creativity and you've been having trouble with the white-blue version of the deck, this version having access to 4 Orvars is quite the beating against them. So I'm a huge fan of that. And so, yeah, I think it's really good. One thing to consider in the list is Thoughtseize, but the problem is I don't know what you cut. I don't think you cut any of the skills. I think you could probably trim 1 skill, but I don't think I want a Thoughtseize in that spot. I think Drannith Magistrate is necessary to fight the Cascade deck, specifically Living End. I haven't seen much Living End, though, so who knows, maybe because Yawg has gotten the uptick, then it's going down. And if you are expecting to see less Cascade, then you can just cut the Dranniths and just kind of, pray. I think Hushbringer is good. It's good against, Yawg and all that. Needle, obviously, very good because now we have effectively 8 copies between the Sagas and the Intents. March of Otherworldly Light, I think, is kind of the best removal spell. You even sometimes kill a Leyline Binding of it by throwing half of your hand in the garbage. But you know what? Sometimes you win off that. I think Sanctifier and Vec is pretty good right now. There's a lot of black-red nonsense running around. And so I think this is what I'm going to be on for a minute. On the Patreon, I will be posting a very, very stock blue-white list, which is always just a solid choice. And then this is probably what I'm going to be kind of tweaking and working on. There's an RCQ this coming weekend that I might play in. I'm getting a little burned out, but Modern is awesome, and it's not Pioneer, so But yeah, I've really been impressed by the intents. Obviously, sometimes you draw all three, and that's not really where you want to be. But sometimes even drawing two just continues, unless they're pressuring you really hard. It usually gives you the ability to grind through whatever they've got. I also like, specifically, intent is great against like the blue-white decks, because you can just go get Saga, or you can go get like a March to go kill their chalices. So as for cards that you could consider for the sideboard that you don't really consider in the blue-white or the mono-white versions are, one, you can get a Nile Spellbomb, which I think is probably the best graveyard hate you can play. So like a Spellbomb is really good because you have that black mana, so you get to pop their yard for free. Because this costs 0 to actually activate, so you can pop it for free, and if you happen to have a black mana laying around, then you can also draw a card. Another card that you could consider, and this is definitely if you're experiencing a lot of Chalice, Hex Parasite. It eats Chalice counters, and since we have black, we don't always have to pay life. And then there are a couple other cards you could consider. Knight of Malice. If you're seeing a lot of like the blue-white X decks, it's pretty good because it has hexproof from white, and it turns into a 3/2 if anyone has any white permanents in play. So this is a solid option as well. But those are a lot of the key cards that I would look at. But one thing to keep in mind is, because you do have things like Diabolic Intent, there is actual value in playing one of sideboard cards that are a lot more potent. So like, you could play a Rest in Peace because, obviously in the past, Relic and Spellbomb are always the better options because you can grab them with your Saga. You don't really want to load up, you don't want to play like 2, 3, 4 Rest in Peace in your sideboard. But if you can intent for them, then the first copy can go a long way. It's also very good against Murktide, obviously. And then against Yawgmoth, Rest in Peace is actually like really busted as long as you can keep it around with Blacksmith skill. But yeah, so these are all things to consider. I think the intent is absolutely worth continued work and continued iterating. I don't think this is probably the final version of the deck, but I'm pretty happy with where it's at. I think a lot of our losses today were just like, sometimes variance happens and you don't draw a Saga in the top, half of your deck. I could have gone a Saga if I had just intented for it instead of intenting for something else. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. I think deck's super sweet, and I will continue working on this version. If y'all have any questions, concerns, let me know. But anyway, I hope, like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get to, I think, 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we'll see how that goes. But I hope everyone has a good holiday. Take care. Bye.